On this episode, I sit down with my man Jason. Now, I've known Jason for roughly half my life, but like a lot of people, we lost touch and haven't seen each other in a long while. During that time, we both experienced joy, success, failure, and loss. But from where I sit, Jason's experienced it tenfold. His attitude is the sun will rise. Today doesn't find you, and what you do with it does. And that's what I appreciate about him the most. He hasn't let his circumstances determine the outcome. He has taken those events and made the absolute most of them. We also talk about the male soap opera known as wrestling. Let's jump in. Hey everybody, welcome to a moderately good podcast. Before we get started with my guy, Jason here, a couple of quick things. All my cool videos that you see, all my cool pictures, that's all Above Average Joe. You can find him on Instagram at Above Average Joe. My guy, Jaron, that does No Name Originals, which is a clothing line. He's a bleach and dyer extraordinaire. So he takes all your kind of lame stuff and makes it like a lot cooler. So you check him out at No Name Originals on Instagram. And then last but not least, my guy Mo, he has a Go Bubble app. You can find it at Go Bubble app on Instagram. It is a mobile detailing services that comes to you. So it's like Uber Eats without food, and they wash your car and then they leave, sort of. So, all right. Well, the good part about being in a fraternity and buying your friends allegedly is that you can make them feel guilty to come do things like your podcast when you're older. So everybody, like y'all say hello to Jason. What's up, Jason?
Hey, man. How's it going? Happy to be here.
You doing all right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah? So you're a big video game guy, right?
Yeah, I can put in a few hours, maybe too many when it comes to playing Xbox.
Yeah? What do you play? What's your game?
So my favorite game of all time probably was Destiny.
Mm-hmm.
Put in a couple thousand hours of that. Which is way too many.
That's a first person, right?
Yeah, it's a first person shooter with like a little bit of like RPG to it.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to like, I guess, play Modern Warfare, like Battle Royale mode or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't get to play as many games as I used to just because of like,
like actually like being a dad and stuff.
Yeah, having a dad, having a daughter who wants to watch, Peppa.
Or Peppa Pig.
Or Mini Daisy Skate, which
is...
Oh, yeah. So, yeah.
Very familiar.
That takes priority.
Hey, bring that mic in just a little bit, just to make sure. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Anyway, so I not to jump into something kind of big, but like we were talking about that, like what you're doing right now. So you're working at Pine House. You brought these really cool pints for us to try, right?
Yeah, I brought some special beers over. So some for the public. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no. I want you to describe them. Like, describe the two beers you brought over. Because I thought it was very interesting, especially the one that, like, y'all get just as employees, right?
Yeah, I brought over two kinds. Training Binds, which is probably, like, one of our favorites at the staff. And then I brought over some peer beer as well, which is something that's only available to staff. We get some probably every 3 months. So I normally save it for special occasions. And that's why I brought it tonight.
That's very cool. I really appreciate that a lot, right? So let's really quick, let's talk about kind of like how you got to working at that place, right? And what kind of the pandemic was like for you, because we kind of touched on it before we got started, right? So,
yeah, for sure. So yeah, I was like so many other people, and kind of impacted by the COVID epidemic. I was laid off from Dell. I guess I've been there probably like 15 years. It was actually the second time I've been laid off. I was probably there 12 years. Got laid off and came back like 6 months later immediately. So it kind of worked out perfect. Like, I got a good package and came back immediately. And then this time it didn't work out that way. So COVID hit in March. And then my wife and I bought a house in June, and I got laid off in September. So yeah, kind of like, going through not a rocky patch, but the ups and downs of what life gives you sometimes.
Right.
So yeah, ended up working at Pine House, and I knew of Pine House because we used to go there sometimes for work. It's a very popular place. It's very, very busy. So, it's, sometimes you just, you don't have to start over, but you have to do something else.
Well, I think what was really great about what you said was like you just, like you said, you weren't scared to do this right now because it's what needed to be done.
Yeah.
Right. Like you're like, like you said, you're putting in applications and things like that, but you're like, like something has to be done right now.
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
And like, you can't just, cause you have a little girl, right? So you can't just let her starve, right?
Yeah. You kind of have a different perspective when you become a parent and also even a husband. So yeah, it might not be something that I initially want to do or it meets all my goals of what I want to, accomplish. But at this point in time, it will pay the bills. It'll keep everybody happy.
I think it's very.
It's a lot easier to get a job when you have a job. So at the end of the day, I know that everyone's taken care of.
Right.
And I guess that's why I remind myself of why I'm doing it.
Why I thought it was really great is, and this is a different view for me, like in becoming a parent, you're like we're going to have Christmas. I thought that was a really great thing that you said, because I really felt that, like I couldn't imagine, did you grow up without Christmases, or did you have Christmases?
No, I grew up very well.
Right.
Money was never it wasn't talked about, but we always were very well taken care of, and we never went without. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's something that I want to provide and even go above. You know what I mean?
And I just think that's so awesome, because I can really feel that. I never did not have a Christmas, right? And I feel like now, and having a child, the thought of not having a Christmas, man, that would just suck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's not a good memory. You want to give the best.
Yeah.
And whatever it takes is what it takes sometimes.
I feel like I'm supposed to know this because we're in the fraternity together, but where did you grow up at?
In Temple. It's about an hour from here.
Okay. So you're real close to Austin all the time, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Both my parents were from Austin, went to Austin high schools. And then all my relatives lived here.
Oh, okay.
So
you basically lived in Austin.
Yeah. The day after I graduated high school, we moved back to Austin. So
really,
I feel like I've always kind of been somewhat, born and raised here.
Yeah, for sure. Have you? And then now you live in Georgetown, right?
Yeah. So lived in correct, Georgetown. Really like the house. It backs up to a big natural green belt, so lots of trees.
Yeah.
Lots of birds. You can kind of see, a lot of nature. It's really awesome.
So it's not to jump all the way back. We were kind of talking about video games, and then we got sidetracked on this other part. So I've never thought about this before, but I can't imagine my parents playing video games, right? And I play video games, and so my daughter's gonna grow up with a dad that plays video games, and I can't imagine my dad playing video games.
I mean, I know what you mean. Sometimes I guess sometimes I play with those people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they say stuff like that. So I've heard it before. Oh yeah, my dad's a big nerd. He plays this.
Yeah.
He introduced me to this game.
Isn't that
I'm
wild though?
Wow, okay, that's cool. And it is a stark contrast. My dad probably, I don't know if he ever hooked up the VCR, but I know he never knew how to set the time on it.
So it just flash 12 the whole time?
Until I would fix it. But
oh man. So you've always been kind of computer tech savvy?
I like
into
I could take things apart and put them back together.
Oh wow.
Or at least if I fucked it up once, I knew what not to do again.
Right.
I mean, not super, but then there's some things I'm not good at, where you think you would be.
So, example.
I don't know, buying the right light bulbs for the entire house so they all match.
Is that important?
I mean, apparently it is.
Hang on,
I'm told it's important by somebody.
That all your light bulbs match?
Well, certain rooms can't be brighter than others, apparently. It needs to flow or be consistent. I don't know.
Hey, you know how many years old I was when I heard that all your light bulbs are supposed to match? It's right now. I didn't know that.
It's the little things.
Look, all I know is that Aaron doesn't like it very bright in the house and stuff like that, right? So half the time I'll go in the bathroom and I'm like, son of a gun, man. 3 light bulbs are out. And then I'll go up and twist them. And she's she's unturned them so that they shut off. So it would be darker wherever she was. And I'm like, oh, they all work. They're all still. And so I just go back and twist them all.
I mean, I normally like it more cave-ish and dark. And then my wife's like, no, let's at least turn some lights on, open windows.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, fair enough. But yeah.
So how's everything else, man?
It's good. I mean, I just, kind of just still readjusting to having like the 8 to 5 life to now working like 4 to midnights. It's just a different lifestyle.
Yeah.
Um,
Have
but
you?
in terms of like, like the family, everyone's doing good. Sharon's actually up for promotion. She just interviewed like yesterday, for like just a promotion at Dell.
Well, man, by the time this episode comes out, we'll already know. So hopefully, we'll just keep our fingers crossed.
Hopefully,
We'll
yes.
put it out to the universe a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So, but anyway, go ahead. Sorry, I'm sorry.
But no, like, everything like from the, like Ellie, my daughter started pre-K, probably like a couple months ago. First week or two was a little rough. Like she didn't adjust as fast as we wanted. Like she's super shy. It just takes her a while to come out of her shell. But now like she's completely like, singing, dancing, happy, wants to go to school every day.
Is that pretty cool?
Oh, it's for sure. It's awesome. So like I'll take her in the mornings and then my wife picks her up. But yeah, it's cool to be able to do those things too. Like, just driving your daughter to school, like, walking her to the door and telling her having a good day, giving her a hug.
You're talking about like, so like under the circumstance of like that, you being a server right now, you get to do these other things.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Because, instead of having to be, at work at 8 and then, I couldn't take her to school and have, that time with her. So yeah, there's ups, there's downs. You just have to kind of keep things in perspective. And if you try to put I don't want to say like always be like, super positive and like delude yourself, but just remember why you're doing it in the first place.
Right.
And then just don't dread on it. I think that's what, in the past, that's what I've done. If you just like constantly think of something in a bad light, it starts to kind of overtake too much.
So what do you think, kind of fixed that? Or do you think just getting older, or do you think just like having more, difficult things that you go through, or what do you think changed your mindset around that?
I think you just learn from your mistakes.
Or you hope you do, right?
Yeah, exactly. If something's not working, you keep doing it. It's like, okay, this isn't the right way to do this.
Right.
And then I guess also having like a support system.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like being married now for, 5 years, you have someone that you can talk to and depend on.
Right.
And you're like, okay, I'm not alone. It's not all against me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think, but you also have to realize that part too, right? Like, I think some people don't even realize, I think they feel like sometimes like in their relationship that maybe it is against them. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't feel like that they have a teammate or a partner that's on the same side, right? Because I'm assuming kind of what you're saying is you have someone you can confide in, you have someone that feels like they're on your side. Like, if like, it's like, if if we were to murder somebody, like she was like, where are we burying the body? You know what I mean? Like she's your partner in crime, I
mean, yeah, Sharon's definitely, like my ride or die. We've been through a lot. Like we got real close real quick in some regards, our first year of marriage probably had like more downs than you're supposed to have, just kind of like by unfortunate circumstances and some loss. But yeah, having someone there that is going to be there with you no matter what. And one thing I told her is like, all you've ever done is just love me. And like she took that to heart, and it's always meant a lot to us.
So, and we kind of did like a little pre-interview and talked about stuff. So I'll give you two choices. Okay. We can kind of go into this because we already kind of talked about it a little bit, or we could do something fun and come back to it and let it breathe a little bit. What do you want to do?
Let's do something fun.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So this is Erin's space oddity helmet, where she writes down questions and then people just draw one. So just stick your hand in there and just pick one out. If you don't like it, we just don't do it. Like we're not holding anybody anything. We'll go through the whole bowl. I don't care.
What failure?
It's her handwriting's shit in it. Let me see. Sorry, babe. Like your handwriting's hard to read. It says, "What failure have you learned the most from?"
Wow, that's a tough question. Because without like you can't succeed sometimes unless you fail. So like failure always has like this like negative connotation to it, but I mean it's an effort of trying. You know what I mean?
Failure and success is the new PB&J, right? Like you can't, like you have to have success. You have to have failure. That's just the way it is. I mean, it's the yin and yang of each other, right? Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. So I don't want to. I'm not gonna get into specifics on this one.
Sure. Hey, we don't even have to answer. We can just
But
pick
like,
another one too.
just as like, what's the right way to say that? Yeah, let's skip that question.
Just pull another one. Just here, I'll go. Maybe my hand's more lucky. I mean, I thought that I didn't put so much deep stuff in this, but maybe I did. I don't know. Maybe I should just left in the animal one that Aaron had. Oh, I mean, I mean, I don't know.
All right, this isn't getting better.
I think it is. I guess. What's the silliest thing that you have an emotional attachment to?
The silliest thing I have an emotional attachment.
Like that, maybe for like as an adult, you shouldn't like.
Oh, this is easy.
Okay, good. Go.
All right. So when I was a kid, so I grew up like, I was born in the 80s. I was born in 80.
Yeah.
So I'm an 80s kid. So I used to love and kind of still do to somewhat degree watch professional wrestling.
Oh, hey, okay. Can we get into something? Can we get into this?
Yeah.
Okay. But anyway, did you want to finish? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So like I collected all the little action figures as a kid. And I still have them in a shoebox. And every once in a while I try to get Ellie to play with them. Because I want her to have like some interest in. No, she's like, she throws it away. She goes back to whatever she was playing with. But yeah, definitely those.
So do you still watch wrestling?
I'll keep it on as background noise.
Uh-huh. But you know the storylines? You keep up with
No, not at all.
Do you know are you familiar with the characters?
I know their names, but I don't know who's like feuding with you or anything like that.
You don't keep up with that close.
Mm-mm.
But at one point you did, I'm assuming, right? I think.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think a lot of kids between like the 80s and the 90s really, like boys, got into wrestling.
Like Hulk Hogan through like Stone Cold and The Rock.
Yeah.
And all that, like that time
era.
Period. Yeah. Like the golden era into like.
I was just thinking that now. I would think that would be the golden era of wrestling.
But
like
the 80s to 90s? Oh,
like
yeah.
Hulk Hogan through, like, because like right before, because like even like at that time, Sting was like big, but in the WWC, even though nobody watched that shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he probably should have got out. He eventually did. I don't know. It's kind of sad.
Sting?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, a lot of those wrestling stories are sad.
Oh, they're all sad. Like, it's so tragic. Like,
why do you think that is?
I think they just lived like a really, really tough lifestyle. Like they travel all. It's what they love. That's what they all say. Is like, I love to do it. I love to do it. There's nothing better. You know what I mean? But like they're on the road 300 days a year, taking pills and steroids and shit. Of course, like you're not going to live long if you're doing all that shit.
Man, I mean, and there's some suicide in like wrestling and stuff like that too, right?
Yeah, I think now they're saying it's all like CTE based.
Yeah, that's
but they didn't know it back then, but that's what it was. Like they all had way too many concussions.
Oh shit. Oh, I guess we're gonna have to take a break. Let me let the stupid dog out. I mean, you're not stupid. You're just like you're old, and I told you not to be in here. All right, so we'll have to come back. Come on, let's go. Hey, come on, buddy. Let's go in the house. Oh man, are you still bleeding?
Mm-hmm.
It's got a little hot spot on it. All right. Back to wrestling. So who was your favorite wrestler like growing up?
Oh, Hulk Hogan for sure.
That like he was
like I got to see him twice at the Frank Irvin Center. Like my dad would fucking take me. Wait, can I cuss?
Yeah, you cuss.
Okay, cool. Sorry. I didn't ask before. I didn't know if you were trying to keep this like PG, whatever.
No, I mean, but look, even if we're keeping it PG, most kids cuss, so it's like it's gonna make it hard to like I feel like the needle has kind of moved on that a little bit.
But yeah, I got to go see it like live as a kid, so it was fun.
So let me ask you this: would you say what are you a basketball fan? You know who Michael Jordan is, obviously.
Yeah. So yes, I mean not as much as I used to. Not as much as I used to. Like I could name players on teams, but yes, I enjoy watching basketball.
Would you say that Hulk Hogan had an influence on wrestling in the same way Michael Jordan had an influence on basketball?
Yeah, like they both had fucking commercials on in the 80s.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like they were icons of like not just the sport, but of like pop culture.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they both had a huge influence.
And Hulk Hogan's story ain't that great. You know what I mean? Well, I mean, his like one of his friends like slept with his wife, and then he have a Hulk Hogan had a bunch of problems, right?
I mean, I don't know about, I don't know, probably. I mean, I don't know that exact story.
I don't know a lot about it either. I just know that like he had some marital stuff, I think, or
Yeah,
something.
he definitely got divorced.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was probably doing something he shouldn't.
You're like he definitely had he had a problem of some sort. Who was who's the wrestler just like annoyed you like the most?
That annoyed me the most. About.
Yeah, like who was the worst? Like I didn't care for the Iron Sheik for some reason.
I mean, but that's how they wanted you to feel. Like they didn't want you to like him. They wanted you to be like, I hate that guy.
So you're
Like-
saying
like you've
my
been
mind was getting worked over even as a
Yeah,
child.
you were being
and
worked in like this guy's the heel. You know what I mean? Like you bought into it already.
right.
God, people I don't like as a wrestler. That's a good question.
I think that I just didn't like. I don't know what like. Why does everybody like Ric Flair? I don't know. Like, I get it, but like, I felt like if you liked Hulk Hogan, you couldn't like Ric Flair. If you like Star Wars, you can't like Star Trek. It's like it was like one of those deals. Like you couldn't like them both or something. Did you watch? That was WWC, right? Or WCW, right?
Yeah, I would watch both. So like Ric Flair's matches were all really predictable. Like he would do the same shit in the same like the same time every fucking way. Every time, I mean. So like you just kind of knew what to expect, but it was just the way he would sell stuff.
Yeah.
He just, I don't know, he kind of came off as like the groveling person, you know what I mean? Like, don't hurt me, don't hurt me. Then he like come around and be like real sneaky about it. And that's why people didn't like him. I think is what you're saying. With Hulk Hogan, he was always just the fan favorite.
Yeah, he was always an American.
Yeah, the American hero. Like, the fucking flag in the background, playing the guitar, like it's just so ridiculous that it worked. You know
It was just so like I don't really remember because I was a kid, but I'm assuming like there was wars around that time and stuff like he was just such like try imagine like someone trying to be Hulk Hogan now, like that kind of Hulk Hogan now. They'd be like, you conservative racist. Like that, they would be so mad because he would just be like America, like all the time. Right?
Yeah, it was a very Ronald Reagan like type character.
Yeah, very much so. All right, let's look at. I'm gonna look at this helmet one more time because there's got to be something more interesting. Or I have to make Aaron write any questions. Oh well, I think you kind of already did this already, but like we can kind of go back over it. I think it's a good. So if you could put in one sentence like how you should live life, like what like. Because you were just saying it earlier, just kind of like you have to roll with things. You have to be pliable. You have to, not everything's going to be, I don't want to say not okay, but like there will be uncomfortable spots, right? Is that kind of what you can kind of go into? Because I think you were actually explaining it earlier.
Well, like the sentence I would say, and it's something I've said before a couple of times, and it's only like in like what I would consider like a true like valley is like, the sun will rise. Having, whenever I would get laid off, whatever, I told myself, the sun will rise. Like you're going to wake up tomorrow, it's going to be okay. And then, whenever we lost our son, I said to myself then, like kind of like every day, kind of became a ritual, the sun will rise. So yeah, that would be the one sentence for sure.
I've told you this before in private, so it's not I'm just so incredibly proud of you as a person in reference to like you losing your son, right?
Yeah, we lost our son Grayson shortly after birth. We knew it was going to be a difficult pregnancy, just with all the appointments. We knew there was probably going to be some sort of issue. They couldn't tell us exactly what, which was always kind of frustrating. But yeah, my wife went into labor probably at 28 weeks. So 13 weeks early or whatever. Yeah, it was 13 weeks early. And we were in the hospital for probably better part of 10 days. We were able to kind of like stabilize things and kind of just like hold everything. Whenever everything happened, my wife just knew she wasn't feeling well. And we went in and they did some tests and admitted us immediately. Like I said, we were there about 10 days. And then, that night, everything just kind of happened. So, he was ours for about an hour. But yeah, we lost him.
Did you have any like feelings? Like, did you have any feeling that something was wrong? Did you have any did you have like this gut feeling like, say, hey, something, I've never done this before, but something feels off?
I mean, we were, uncomfortable to say the least, kind of like the whole time we were there.
Because they really weren't telling you kind of anything.
Yeah, we didn't have exact answers. He delivered, and like the Nick team was already there, on hand to kind of take care of anything that could happen.
Did they did a C-section?
No, it was, no, it was just normal.
Okay.
Her water broke, and less than 5 minutes later, he was here. But like I said, they had the Nick team kind of standing by and close to us. So we kind of, they were on call basically. But when I knew things were really wrong, to answer your question, was they came to get me. And say, you need to come with us.
Yeah.
We're walking down the hallway, really long hallway. And then being told by like a team of doctors, this is really where we're at. We're about to do this. We don't think it's going to be, it's the only thing we can do, but we don't think it's going to work, having to watch that. It's something that really never leaves you.
I have some crappy paper towels over there.
No, I'm good.
You sure?
Yeah.
And I can get some Kleenexes. I was just, Aaron had like some complications. Obviously my story, isn't anything what you went through. And obviously I still have my daughter, but, I do have a moment where I was like, I don't know if everything's cool. Like that's, all of a sudden everything's not cool. Like they came and got me and rushed me in there in the same way. And man, like I kind of wasn't prepared for it. Were you prepared? I mean,
Yeah.
did you feel like, I mean, did it just like hit you, or did you feel prepared?
I kind of, in the back of my mind, I was always kind of trying to tell myself, like, be prepared, to have to deal with this, scenario, this situation. Unfortunately, I had to. But yes, I definitely had it in the back of my mind. This could definitely happen.
And so, and how long ago was that?
Going on 5 years.
So
5 years as of September 22nd.
So, if you don't mind, like, and just, you can just kind of do like really short, just kind of like, what, let me ask you this. Like, how do you feel now? Like, how do you feel now in the perspective of 5 years ago? Like, how do you feel? What's it like for you now?
I mean, it's tough, especially with Ellie kind of being 3.5 and kind of seeing a progression of how things kind of go.
Mm-hmm.
Of like, 1 week not talking, the next week talking complete, full sentences, and like, completely understands me. Knowing that he would be 5 and he would be like past that and beyond, and it's all this other progression. It just makes you think of things that you're missing out on.
I'm assuming that you have to work really hard to like stay present with your daughter, right?
Oh yeah, constantly.
Yeah, because it just, I mean,
the time that I get to spend with her, I really do cherish.
Yeah.
So
I would say you look at it differently, don't you think?
Yeah,
like you don't know any other way to look at it because this is the way it happened for you. But I would assume that you look at it even differently than I do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, just sometimes like the routine of like ear infections and having to do medicine and crying and like the long nights. You're getting to do those things. That's part of being a parent.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the things you're going to remember and talk about later, or it's good and bad, but it all ends up being good.
Yeah. Because I'm older, I feel like that I appreciate this a lot more. I don't. You appreciate it in a different way. You'll have multiple appreciations, I think, because of how life has gone. And then as you get older, you're just going to appreciate it more, right? I had this appreciation for just being just older, right? And I feel the same way. It's like she hasn't really gotten sick yet. Now by the time this podcast come out, she might have already been sick. But I can barely handle it when she cries about certain stuff, and I'm trying to be like tough. And now I gotta be even tougher, and be a dad when she's crying, she has an earache or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're lucky. That means you haven't gone through teething yet.
She has 3 teeth.
All right, so molars, completely different story.
Oh my head! Why are you trying to scare me, Jason?
I'm just letting you know what's gonna happen.
Okay.
So and Ellie, she probably had 5 or 6 ear infections in a row.
Oh wow!
And she got tubes, never had another one again. But yeah, I mean, your kid's gonna cry. You're gonna learn their different cries.
Yeah, I've already learned that. Yeah, and she comes up with new ones all the time.
Yeah, they change constantly. Yeah. You just have to kind of be like, all right, that one's different.
Do you remember the first time you heard this is some bullshit cry? Like she's trying to pull one over on you?
Oh yeah, I mean maybe not the first one,
but do you remember?
But you definitely kind of you're like, nope, that shit ain't gonna work. You just have to you get immune to it, a little bit of tougher skin, because that I'm hurt cry.
Yeah,
pain, that one.
Yeah,
and then the scared,
right?
And they're different, but they're kind of similar.
Yeah. But you pay attention, right?
Yeah, as long as you don't hear those, you're pretty much okay.
I would assume though, and talking about appreciating that relationship, that's part of it, right? Is knowing those different types of cries, right? I would assume. How are y'all? What do y'all do with phone and devices? Do y'all try to keep her away from them, or what do y'all do? No, I mean, and there's no right or wrong answer, by the way.
No. So she probably gets too much screen time.
Mm-hmm.
But we do try to monitor as much as we can.
Yeah.
So
you're aware of it.
We're aware of it. We talk about it. We try to keep it down. So during the week, she doesn't get the tablet too much. I don't think on the weekend she does get tablet time.
I think that's great.
But she probably watches way too much Disney Channel.
Hey, there ain't nothing wrong with the Disney Channel. That play
mini Daisy Skate. I've heard. I mean, Twice Upon a Christmas. We've worn that out way too much. Before that, it was Moana. It's still Frozen and Frozen 2.
Oh, man.
I mean, it's PJ Masks.
Oh, she likes PJ Masks?
She dressed up as
Owlette.
Owlette, of course.
Look at me. I feel pretty good. I've been studying.
Thank you there. I appreciate that. There was a Catboy and Gecko. So we took her trick-or-treating tonight. That was why I was off today.
Yeah. So by the way, when this recording comes out, we recorded this way months in advance. So
sorry.
It doesn't matter. It just happens to be Halloween. But you were talk about it, cause I thought it was a great story.
Yeah. So she was Alouette, and we took her to this little trick-or-treating thing at her daycare. It's also a church. So it's a big community event. They closed the streets down. It's really awesome. They had so much candy, free food, just a good, a good day, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was one of those times I actually kind of I stopped and took it in, being this is actually really cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She's enjoying this. Everyone's happy. The community's involved. You know what I mean?
I think it's so easy for people to not just slow down a little bit and appreciate those kinds of things. You know what I mean? Right now, she has this, she does this thing where I'll sit on the floor and she'll run up to me and just turn around real fast and plop down, or she'll climb up on my legs and try to sit on my lap. But half the time she kicks me in the wrong spot, and I'm just kind of oh.
Yeah, that doesn't stop.
Yeah.
And she's eventually she'll jump from the couch onto you. Yeah.
But I'm just saying, on some level, I'm well, this won't happen forever. I try to have some sort of healthy appreciation around the fact that she just wants to run and sit on my lap. You know what I mean? And just really be man, this is great, because I don't plan on having another child. So I want to really appreciate what she is,
Yeah. It's one of those things, the way I try to look at it, is it's not gonna be like this for long.
Mm-mm.
Pretty soon she'll be.
You said it was zooming, right? You said the last year has gone by.
Yeah, the last 6 months, she's the progression and the jump and the leap she's taking. but yeah, I know, in a couple years she'll want to be in a room, like, ooh, dad, get away from me type thing. So yeah, like these times where they want to be around you, want to hang on you, like it's, just soak it up as much as you can.
Well, and I think you would agree on this. Like, if you're really doing your job as a parent, there probably should be a phase where she should be like, "Ooh, dad," like, they should be like, they should want their independence. And if you really appreciate this now, you'll understand that then. Does that make sense? Like, if you're really present now, you absorb all that in. So when they're like, "Ooh, dad," you're like, "Oh, okay, well, this is just part of life." And I really paid attention when she was little. So I kind of, I remember that feeling. You don't feel cheated. You don't remember what it was like, I guess.
Yeah. It's just part of the process of growing up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you want to be independent, and she's already saying stuff like, I'm not a baby. And it's like, okay, like, I hear you. Like, we try to give her as many choices as possible. Like, you want the red plate, or do you want, what color plate do you want? What color bowl do you want? So she gets insight, or, into what she does. And like, same thing with clothes, and like, like kind of what she eats, what I mean?
Well, you're
like,
trying to create independence, right?
Yeah. And like, let her know, like, you do get to make some choices.
Right.
But some of the choices, like, we have to make for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But there's choices, I guess, she's like, disagrees with. And then she's like, "I'm not a baby." Like, is that how that comes out? Like,
yeah, like, we were trying to get out of the middle of the street today. She's like, "I'm not a baby. I can do it." It's like, it clear as day. You know what I mean? We're like, all right, we just got told off. Like, let's go over here.
oh, that's funny, man. Oh, man. So who would you say, who is she more like? Is she more like you or more like your wife?
On different things, it varies. But in a lot of things, she's gotten like a double dose.
Yeah.
And that's what we were afraid of. Like, I was a little...
Like, she's very intense, you mean?
Yeah, she can go 0 to 60, like, like no other.
Like crying and stuff? Like throwing a tantrum?
That, and just, attitude, you know what I mean?
Like,
but yeah,
more like I'm not a baby anymore?
More like, yeah, just attitude and crying. But like, I was probably not intense, but like a little crazy or wild. I guess, Sharon was a little bit too. And that's like, Ellie definitely has that side in her.
Yeah.
But yeah, she can, whenever she just really wails, like the windows shake. It's bad.
So really, I just thought of something really quickly, like back to Pine House. So if I go to Pine House, like what beers am I getting? Let's sell this right quick. And like, am I right? Because I feel like maybe I'm wrong. Pine House does the pizza as well, right? Yeah. Okay. Just make sure.
Yeah, like craft brewery, artisan pizza type thing.
Okay. So if I go to Pine House, what beer am I getting?
I mean, if you've never been there, probably have to get electric jellyfish.
Oh,
it's like the most popular.
Yeah, it's great.
Like number one in like Central Texas at the moment, probably.
That's the keg I want to get in the kegerator. I want to put a electric jellyfish in there.
I can probably help you with that.
Okay. Hey, everybody heard that.
Not official sponsor. But yeah, what I brought tonight was Training Binds. That's probably like one of the more staff favorites.
Yeah.
It's on tap too.
And then they bottle they can their own beer up there as well.
Yeah, so we there's like a lot of 4-packs like preset, like for sale. We have those all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something that that's not on in can. We can can it for you there for you.
Oh wow!
Like at the bar.
What?
Yeah, it's like a little can machine. It looks pretty cool.
Like you do it?
Bartenders do it.
Okay, but like it's not a special skill. They just run a machine that does it.
I would say it definitely takes some skill.
Well, I mean
it's all hand loaded and operated.
But somebody could teach you how to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can learn how to do it pretty quick.
That's wild.
But yeah, it's all available.
That's cool.
Yeah, because I guess we'll probably have 30 beers on tap. And then we might only have like 5 or 6 that are like, sold in 4-packs ready to go. So yeah, we sell a lot of crowlers.
Yeah. I like how I had set out these liquid deaths and you were like, "What, are we not going to drink my beer?" And I was like, "Bro, that's water. That's not like beer." And you're like, "What?" You're like, that, I think you said, did you say that can was deceiving?
No, I'm just saying the font on the label. I mean, normally that's not what water is going to look like. That's like death metal.
Yeah.
That's what I think of when I see this logo.
The slogan is that they're going to murder your thirst, bro.
I like it.
Yeah. Murder your thirst. It's good. It's good water, right? It tastes good.
It goes down smooth.
for
good water
or just liquid?
I mean, mountain water? I don't know about all that.
I don't know.
Alps. What Alps? The West Alps, the Swiss Alps? They need to be specific.
So you're upset that they didn't put the specific Alps on there?
Not upset. From like having a marketing degree, I want to know what
You want to
Alps.
know what Alps?
Yeah, I'm like, come on, I want more.
What Alps? Everybody's asking what Alps.
It's a very cool can though.
I think I like having it when I go out because it looks like I'm drinking beer.
And it makes my like big beer look small.
I think it's just because of that koozie. I don't know.
No, this is like 16.9 and that's 16.
Yeah.
It's just a bigger can.
Well, I mean, did you just say my can was bigger than yours? All right. Well, let's go. Let's go with helmet one more. Let's go with helmet one more time and get away from talking about each other's cans. Let's see. Okay, I think this. I don't even. Oh well. Okay.
Uh-oh.
No. It says, "What's your most treasured possession?" But we're not going to include kids or spouses. We're going to go just like you can go stuff or things or whatever. We're not going to go stuff that you should actually value because everybody should value that. We're going to go fun stuff. So what's your most valued possession?
All right, I have two.
Okay, cool.
One's more kiddish, one's more adultish.
Hey, I'm in for both of them. Go.
All right, well, you pick which one first. Kid or adult?
Let's go. Let's just go in timeline order. Let's go kid first.
Well, I got it later.
No, it's cool. Like, but did you have it as a kid or you wanted it as a kid?
I got it recently.
No. Okay. So when you were a kid, did you have it or did you want it?
I wanted it.
Okay. And then you never got it?
Exactly.
And then you finally got it.
Exactly.
Okay. What is it?
So Marvel Legends 6-inch action figure, 3-pack. It's got Iron Man, Captain America, and Spider-Man, like the battle damage 3-pack.
So it's like it's like action figures like in a long pack.
Like it's a long 3 case. It's like the 6-inch have like, I don't know, there's like probably like the most popular or whatever. So I have quite a collection of Marvel action figures. That's probably my favorite one of all of them.
So do you have them? Are they like up in the house? Like, do you have them up on a shelf kind of stuff?
I should, but I have not unboxed them since we moved into the house.
Out of not the box, but the box that you carried them in.
Right. So they're still all in like complete, retail packaging.
You're not taking them out, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But no, they're still like in moving boxes.
Oh, okay.
Like 2 big moving boxes.
All right.
So I'm way more selective on what I buy now. It got out of hand. I realized I had a problem, and I stopped buying action figures.
You recognized it? Like I still haven't recognized that I have a problem with shoes. I haven't recognized it yet.
Yeah, because I mean, you something that you like, you're passionate about. You're gonna make money off of it.
Well, I mean,
you know what I mean.
I don't see myself losing any money.
Exactly.
So,
and that's how these are. I'm going to, I'll put them away for a while, and I can sell them.
You do Funko Pops or whatever those things are called?
No.
Okay. You know what I'm talking about? That's the ones with a big ass head. It's like
yeah. No, I don't do those. That's still too childish for me. No, I'm into the more adult action figure.
Okay. So what's your adult thing that
just my shotgun.
I had no idea where you were going, and then you said shotgun, and I was like, wow, I didn't like it. So
I have like a Mossberg 500 tactical. I've done all kinds of cool stuff to it. So like as my adult toy, I would say it's probably that.
Okay, so what the fuck did you say? I don't know anything about guns. So okay,
it's a really cool shotgun.
Like
with like it has like a cool grip up front.
Like, is it not have a back part? Like, it's not like a shotgun. Like you'd hold it with both hands. It's like a one-hander.
No. It's like a normal like
shotgun.
It's got like a pistol grip tactical.
Oh, it's like one of these like a pump.
Yeah,
like
and it has like a grip up here, a light, and like a laser over here, and then like a cool little sight up here.
How much do you put into that gun?
Like $1,000.
You're totally in $1,000 all in?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not too bad.
But the reason I got it was, again, all right, I'll tell the story.
Having a daughter? I'm just kidding.
I thought I heard some people outside of one of my, like our first house, like before we had kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, this is really bothering me. Like I could hear them outside the window. Could have sworn I could listen to their conversation. And like, I thought they were like trying to like talk about trying to get in. And I like went out there and like, there's nobody there, thankfully. But then like the next day, I went to the store and bought something. I was like, I'm not doing that again.
Well, I mean, I think that I'm going to go on a limb and say you really respect this weapon. Is that correct? Would you say? Like,
oh yeah, for sure.
Like it's like locked out of place. The Ellie can't get to. Like, there's a lot of respect.
Yeah, so like I grew up like, going to the dealers with my dad, going dove hunting.
Yeah.
So yeah, like gun safety, going to like hunter training course. Yeah, everything's locked up, put away safe. Completely believe in being responsible.
I feel like that it's a misconception that like people that are really into guns, like I feel like a lot of those people are really into safety as well. Like the people I talk to, like, you know what I mean? Now, I can't speak for everybody, but I feel like the people that really like are kind of like guns as a hobby or like being interested in it, usually they have a background like yours, right? Where they've been around guns before and blah, blah, blah. And it's been taught to them and things like that. Like, would you agree or no?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I wouldn't say something like if you're not introduced into something, but like if something's like, this is the real world, like these exist. And we want, like, if you're going to use it, like, to go hunting, like we would make jerky, we would make our own sausage. Like we would actually like, process what we go hunting for. You know what I mean? This wasn't like to go kill something.
Right.
And yeah, you kind of grow up respecting it and, treat it with respect. It's not something to play with.
Who did you, who'd you grow up hunting with?
My dad and my brother.
Yeah.
Like we had the same deer leash probably for the better part of 15 years.
Was your dad a big hunter?
Yeah, like he definitely introduced us to it, and his dad kind of did it to him.
Yeah.
So it's like he really thought it was like a tradition or a ritual.
I mean, it's kind
of passed that down to us.
I don't know if it's like that in other states, but I feel like Texas, there's a lot of that in Texas.
I think there's so much land. You know what I mean? There's people can have leases.
Yeah.
There's places like you can. It's readily available.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's just a shit ton of land, especially when you start to go out to West Texas. You're just like, that's all there is land.
Yeah, forever. That's more like barren, just like love it wind.
Yeah.
But like, that's no bueno.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess depending on what you're hunting, right?
And there might be dove out there. I don't think there's much whitetail.
No. That's more down south, right?
Yeah, that's more around here.
My dad and my brother were big hunters. I never was into it, but I think it's because like my dad, like either I didn't want to shoot anything as a kid, or he didn't want me to shoot anything, or we never saw anything, or it could have been that I never shut up, and so nothing ever came around, which is probably more likely.
I mean, there were definitely times early on as a kid. I remember like falling asleep in the blind, making noise, making us leave. And like we're walking out and we scare off like 10 deer that were about to be in the feeder.
Yeah.
Is like one of those things like, I just, ruined it for my dad, but he didn't care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And you probably have a different, perspective on that now as well, right? I would think, as being a dad, right?
Yeah. I mean, he would definitely get buck fever sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But like, it would kind of take over, like, our enjoyment wasn't like, like the prime goal.
Yeah.
But it would quickly return.
Are both your parents still alive?
Yes. Yeah. Thank goodness they both are. They're both like, I guess my mom's 69, my dad's 68. Currently they live like in Marble Falls area.
Oh, nice.
So it's like, about an hour away.
Yeah.
Good, safe little distance.
Yeah.
They had like 3 acres of land, deer feeder in the backyard. That type of setup, very country like, nearest neighbor was like 400 yards away or whatever. But they just sold the house. They're going to build a new house. It's currently in production. Going to be about 5 minutes away from me, my wife, and Ellie. So that's going to be awesome.
Lots of
dinners, and
so we're
just going to stop by and say hi.
So we were talking about this before we started the podcast. So, and you said you were excited, right? You were excited to have them close, right?
I'm excited because I know that like in the long run, like, so the best gift I could ever give my mom and dad is just
go. Like, yeah. What are you going to say?
It's just like relationship with their granddaughter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Right? Like sometimes like, you don't always get along with your parents, you know what I mean? But you love them. And then like, I always knew like I didn't know how things were going to work out, but yeah, like whenever they see Ellie, they light up, they have a great time. Ellie feels, whenever she gets to see him, she's, super happy. My parents are buying iPhones so they can FaceTime with her.
No way.
I'm like, damn it. Now I have to teach her how to use them. So that's something I can't wait for. But yeah, knowing that they're going to be a little bit closer to kind of come by and say hi, something I do appreciate. But like the rule is y'all can't come by without calling first.
Right.
Like there's no just like, hey,
right.
We wanted to say hi. No,
Right.
You got to call first.
Call that setting a boundary, right?
Yeah, for sure. And then like they kind of broke the boundary recently, and I kind of had to reinforce it. And they're like, "All right, sorry, we'll do it again."
You're like, and you're like, hey, you don't have to be sorry. Just understand that there's boundaries. Like, you know what I mean? I'm an adult now. Like I'm an adult person. I have a wife. I have a child. Like I got this. You know what I mean? And like I think sometimes people think that that's harsh towards their parents, but you know, your parents, it's hard for them not to see you as a child. They're always going to see you as their child, and so you kind of have to tell them sometimes, like, hey, I am an adult. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I just have to remind them sometimes, like, hey, like this is my house,
right?
You know, like
in a very polite way, I'm sure.
It's polite, but like sometimes I'll be a little more blunt, like, you know, like not outright rude,
right? Just stern,
yeah, like
very
okay,
stern.
Like no, I think we're good. Or like, yeah, when they say like, hey, we're just gonna stop by, like, hey, now's not a good time.
Yeah.
Sorry, how about tomorrow?
Yeah.
Just kind of being firm with it. And the pause. I learned that in sales. So like, you know, you kind of make your pitch like, hey, yeah, now's not a good time. I can come back tomorrow, or you know, come tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of like saying anything after that, they have to respond. You know what I mean?
Right.
Sometimes whoever responds first loses. So
well, it's not really like a loss. It's just not a conversation, right? So like, if you say if you're texting one of like your wife or one of your friends or something like that, and you send like 3 or 4 texts in a row because that's kind of how y'all text with each other, that's one thing, right? But if you're having some sort of serious conversation or something that probably shouldn't be done on a text message, but you're deciding to do it anyway, you need to treat it like a conversation where you say something and then that person says something instead of just piling on them, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. So I mean, but it's what you're saying. But what I'm saying is like, sometimes you make a statement and you don't have to overfunction or just keep kind of like, just let it be. Just pause for a second, like you said, right?
Yeah, sometimes less is better. Like,
yeah.
If you've, communicated effectively what you're trying to get across, normally with text messages, you can do that.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you get it through, just, stop, let them process it. The going back and forth is just going to make it worse.
Yeah.
I mean, no one ever likes that.
It didn't work out well for nobody.
Mm-mm. I mean, it never does.
So, and I would assume, I always tell people that like, if you do have parents, like if your child does like have grandparents, like they're not going to be around forever. Right. So like, they're way past you. So, if everyone dies from old age, their time with your child is going to be short. So let them go stay with them and do things with them and go do stuff with your wife. Like go take the day off and, go do something fun together and let her be with her grandparents. Like some of my best memories are with my grandparents. Mm-hmm. Like, is that same for you or?
Not as much. And that's why I wanted to make sure.
So you took a different route because like you didn't get that.
So like, I kind of said like, we lived in Temple. My grandparents lived in Austin.
Mm-hmm.
Both my grandfathers passed before I was even born.
Okay.
But we were always coming to Austin like every couple weeks or whatever, to see family and grandparents. And even though I saw them, kind of regularly, I never felt like that deep connection to them.
Yeah, because you just didn't see them enough, probably, right?
Yeah, or like as some of my other like cousins and whatever did. So I wanted to make sure like Ellie had, that grandparent like. She wanted to see them. It wasn't something that was going to be forced on her.
I think that's great.
You know what I mean?
So, you don't have to answer this question if you don't want to. What's the one thing that like your mom or dad does that you're like, hey, we try not to give Lucy any kind of phone. Like she never holds a phone. And my mom will let her watch sorry, Mom. My mom will let her watch cartoons on it sometimes. I'm kind of like, just put them on the TV. Like we're just doing the TV. So do you want to tell me or no?
My parents do that I don't like.
No, just the like thing. You're like, hey, we don't do that here. You know what I mean? You don't have to tell you don't want to. I don't want to throw your parents under the bus.
No, it's silly. So I don't mind at all. So my dad's like really hard of hearing and like has hearing aids. So like he can like in a quiet conversation tone like this, he's fine. Mm-hmm. But anytime like ambient noise, and he completely just loses everything. But anywhere we go, he's always like basically yelling at Ellie. And I'm like, Dad, like fucking stop. Like you're scaring her, man. Because he's trying to get her attention. He doesn't realize how loud he is.
Yeah.
And like I know he means well.
Yeah, sure.
I don't want to tell him like, don't talk to your granddaughter.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you're literally yelling at her, like, just stop, give her 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, let her get adjusted to you, all that type of stuff. But yeah, just don't yell.
That is, but I mean, it's not his fault. I mean,
exactly.
He's hard of hearing, you know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, he's just deaf.
That's really good though. Like, you know what I mean? He's like, because I'm sure he's saying like really sweet things, right? He's just yelling.
It's always the same thing too.
Yeah.
It's like, it's about to happen and you can't stop it.
Right.
It's just like, come on, man.
I mean, do you ever just want to go to your daughter and just go like, hey, look, so when we go inside, Grandpa's going to yell at you real quick. So just
I mean, now I think that she might actually comprehend what's about to happen.
Yeah. But like when she was younger, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, it was when she was younger that like she couldn't completely like express herself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, so I always like to wrap everything up and just kind of talk about like with my guests, like what do you do? I mean, obviously, man, like, and we didn't even really, we just kind of touched on everything lightly, but like, I mean, you've had one heck of a life in a short period of time, you know what I mean? And so I'm assuming that you do a lot of things to try to create balance and make yourself feel good. And it's like you said, like, the sun's going to rise every day. Was that kind of your motto, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah,
more of a mantra.
Your mantra. So like, so what do you do to just make your life like good and balanced? And you've already talked about some, like, the time you spend with your daughter and being present, but like kind of just in your words, like, what do you do to make your life like more moderated?
Yeah. Whenever I most need to like decompress or just chill or, take me time, I guess I'll just go hiking. It's something I started doing, 15, like a long time ago. Just going out to,
do you go by yourself?
Yeah, I go by myself.
Okay.
So at first I kind of did more exploring the trail, kind of figuring out where I was, but like out in the Greenbelt, I'll do like an 8-mile loop. The first part of the trail is kind of like public and the other parts are more like bike trail that people don't go on as much. But yeah, just kind of go walk through the woods.
What is that? What, like, so
it just balances me out. Lets me think. It's quiet. If I want to put music on, I can. But just kind of get out in nature and just kind of get away and unplug as much as you can if you want to. It would just kind of help my mind kind of calm down where I could think about things.
Do you do that when you have to make like really difficult decisions? When do you do it? I guess is one of my asking.
Whenever I just feel like
you need it.
Yeah, whenever I need it. Yeah, that's the best way I can say it. But yeah, difficult decisions coming up, just overly stressed. Whenever you kind of think things are going to get to like that tipping point of being like, I'm about not get depressed or sad, but like, I need me time now.
Yeah.
I need to process something.
You have to make yourself, yourself has to be a priority. It has to, right? You can't get lost and then you have to put your mask on first before you put on somebody else's, right?
Yeah. It's just, yeah, exactly. Which is whenever I knew it, I needed time for myself. That's when I would go do it.
Yeah.
So if it was once a month, once every couple of weeks, whatever it may be, I knew that was my time, and I could just enjoy it.
How often do you do that now? Like you do it like just kind of whenever you get a chance or whenever you need it? Like
yeah, like maybe like once every 3 months.
Yeah.
I mean, just to kind of like, go visit it. You know what I mean? It's a different experience now.
Well, and I would say probably, we had kind of touched on this like earlier and we kind of didn't go into it, but going back to just a little bit, because your job has changed, you're off in the mornings, right? You take your daughter to school. Like you could easily, like she's at school, your wife probably works and you don't work until later. You could just go on a hike, right? Like you could just take off if you wanted to.
I definitely can. I save it for my days off so I can really enjoy it and not be rushed.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I guess you have these opportunities to do these things you didn't have opportunities to do before, and really take an appreciation for like taking your daughter to school and being able to hike on days when you do want to, having days off, like during the week or whatever, when there's probably less people out there or whatever else, right?
Yeah, for sure. Or just kind of doing like, the daily tasks to help the family, going to the grocery store.
Yeah.
Running the errands that need to be done to kind of keep the household up and going. My wife works from home, 5 days a week, and she has since before COVID. So like, I know, like, she has like the workspace, the home space, it's all kind of mixed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That can kind of get overwhelming. So yeah, anything I can do to kind of help, take stress away or just contribute in other ways that I couldn't before, I definitely want to do.
Well, like when COVID hit, and a lot of my business went to like over Zoom and stuff, and like, so I was just like doing it here, like in like when all this shifts over, like it becomes my little gym, right? So I was just doing Zoom calls like in here. So like I was like working from home, but during that time we had Lucy, and so like I got to be at home a lot where I wouldn't have been at home. You know what I mean? And so, I don't know. COVID wasn't good in any stretch, but if I had to find some good in it, it was the fact that like I got to do these things. I got to be present and be with her and do a lot of the stuff. And we got to be a team. You know what I mean? I would assume kind of what you were saying earlier is like, you get to do these other things. You also get to be a better teammate for your wife, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I know definitely things can get overwhelming when I have to work a night shift. And she's there by herself. So like anything I can do in the mornings
to set her up for success later, right?
To kind of like, do the prep work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And get all that stuff ready. And like, I can remember like the 3 times my dad picked me up from school my entire life. It was always when a dog died. So like, yeah, it was sad and like predictable. Like
so wait, by the third one, were you like, oh, what was your dog's name at that time?
Sparky.
Were you just like, fuck, I hope Sparky's okay? And then he gets in the car and he's like, hey, I gotta tell you something.
No, like you already knew. It's like kind of hang the head type thing. So that's one of the reasons why like I kind of make it not a point, but like I kind of take pride in like, yeah, I can take Ellie to school every day. It's a different memory. Just a better way, and also just kind of getting to know her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a good thing.
Like we kind of like she is usually in bed by like 8:30, we'll say.
Right? Oh wow, okay.
But hang on. But I mean that's like, now she's young. This could all change.
Yeah, she's a year. Okay.
Yeah, she's a year. So
Formula?
Now, what's up?
Formula or
no? She's on milk.
Okay.
Like milks. We call them milks around here. For some reason. Anyways, but we try to have her in bed by like 8:30, right? So that we can have time after she goes to bed. Because I have to go to bed shortly after that because of work, right? But like up to 8:30, she has all my attention. I give her all my attention. I don't do anything else. It's all about like we play, we go to the park, we eat dinner together, whatever we're doing. Like I'm in, right?
Yeah, park time's fun.
Yeah,
we do that every day now.
But then, yeah, see, but that's great, right? Like, and that's something you can't do. Like, I mean, no offense to Dell. Dell's a great place, but like working at Dell, you can't do those kinds of things. You know what I mean? So you have to appreciate those things now. You know what I mean? And so, like, I'm just trying to really appreciate these things now that I get to do, and like really make time for her. Because, like we said before, they're not going to be little forever. You know what I mean? You're not going to. One day, she's not going to want to go to the park.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, it's going to happen super quick. And instead of wanting to like watch TV with you, she'll be telling you to get out of her room.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's going to hurt. But
I expect it.
No, I expect it, but I'm probably going to cry. I'm
like,
also going to cry.
Don't want to I don't want it to happen like
too
like,
soon.
I want not like I don't want to happen like at 9.
Well, Jason, she's already telling you that she's like not a baby. So
she tells that to my wife. She doesn't do it to me.
Oh, really?
So like, and Sharon was like, "Am I doing something?" I was like, "No, you're good." Like, I don't know why she's doing that.
I think that's just a mom-daughter thing.
Oh yeah, but she's definitely closer with her mom.
But I mean, I think there's a certain level of tension because they're the same sex. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, I won't ever have a boy, but I like having a girl because I don't know anything about her, really. I don't know anything about girls.
Yeah, it's a whole...
here at 45, I still know nothing about girls.
It's a whole total enigma.
Yeah.
With a boy, you think you have a clue of like, you have the... Like,
you think you have this insight.
You have the cliff notes of what's going to happen.
Yeah, right?
You know what I mean? Like,
right.
You're going to, broad strokes, you're good. With this, you're just like, nope, you have no clue.
So do they ever butt heads and then you have to kind of like separate them? You have to go like, hey, like, or they get along really well?
Oh, so both?
Both?
I think they get along really well. But normally Ellie will like remove herself from the situation.
Oh, really?
She'll just want to come cuddle or like try to get me to do what mom wouldn't do. It's one of those two. You know what I mean? Like, does she just want, comfort, or is she trying to like work me?
So what is she like when like she's coming to work you? Like she's trying to get something. What's her approach?
The cry is a little bit different.
but you notice it. You notice the cry. Like,
and she's more like just kind of like pulling down. And she can Chex Mix. It's like, no Chex Mix. You can't have any. You've already had 2 bags today. Like, that's way too much salt. But yeah, just, you'll learn the looks and like, just the way they ask for stuff.
I feel like she's already doing like some of these things. You know what I mean? She's already kind of like agony.
Oh yeah, the more dramatic, the better.
Yeah.
Because you eventually just laugh. You're like, no.
Well, I have some friends, and I stayed with them over the weekend, a couple weekends ago or whatever. And the mom was putting one of their boys to bed, and like he was just like throwing this fit, and she wasn't even phased. I think she might actually been having a drink, and she was just kind of like, she was like, just go to bed, and like he's like, like losing it. She's like, just go to bed, and she didn't even move, she didn't even care. And I was like, man, like that's a level, like, you know what I mean? Like, you've seen some stuff that's like war. Yeah, like you've been through some things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's total like just not standing your ground, but just like, nope. You're not going to get your way. But I think once they get their way for like misbehaving or it's getting loud, they'll do it over and over. You know what I mean? Like, they're masters at it.
Well, you're setting boundaries. Like, you're going like, hey, like there's certain things like. But I think what you said earlier was great. Like you said, you'll give her a lot of choices about certain things, but not about everything.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's a really great way to look at it, because I think probably some parents give their kids all the choices. And that's not good, because they don't know the response. They don't know how to handle the responsibility of all the choices, right? You give her things that she can actually choose and make decisions about that aren't necessarily maybe important. Yes, like blue plate, red plate.
They're important to her.
They're important to her. Exactly, they're important to her. But in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't affect you. You know what I mean?
Exactly. As long as it's clean, we're covered.
Yeah. So, anyways, man. So what do you think? Did you have a good time?
Yeah, this was awesome. I'm glad I did it. I kind of mentioned I was apprehensive about it.
Well, you mentioned it to me before we started, but Jason did say he was a little apprehensive about telling me, like, coming on. So,
yeah, first time doing a podcast, normally would have said no.
Podcast virgin.
Would have said no, but I was like, you know what? Let's do this. Let's broaden the horizons a little bit. It can't hurt anything. It's not going to be a bad experience. Well, I think it's been really fun.
We didn't go through any of this stuff, but Jason is actually in my family tree, like in the fraternity. So we've had a lot of conversations and hung out and stuff like that. So I hope, like, if, on some level it felt like just us having similar conversations. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it felt, I guess the way I am with like old friends that you haven't seen, in a while, it's like you kind of just fall back into a rhythm. Well, and that's one of the things I appreciate with certain people. Denny is one of those guys. Yeah. Like, I might not see you for, a while, but like when we're together, we fall right back into it. Yeah. It's like, it's like we talked yesterday.
Yeah. And like, I think I referenced in the beginning of like people saying that people in fraternities like buy their friends. And then Jason, we were talking about it before, he goes, well, I didn't buy my friends because I never paid my dues, or Denny didn't pay his, like, we wouldn't pay dues. So we weren't buying our friends because we didn't pay anything.
Yeah. I mean,
getting dues out of people was the hardest thing in the fraternity.
Especially for hours. I mean.
Yeah. I don't know what. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's still
we would need beer, and they would literally go through a list and go, who hasn't paid their dues yet? Like, you're gonna have to contribute. You haven't paid your dues. But
I mean, pitch in where you can.
Yeah. But anyways, and so there's a certain level of that we are very like already have a comfort. So man, I appreciate you. I appreciate you doing this. I appreciate you being so honest and open. I think I told you that before. I admire your strength. Like, I can't even imagine what that must be like. And now having a daughter, and I just think it's really cool that that you've been strong, and that you didn't I don't want to say not gave up, but you just said, let's try it again. Let's have a baby, and you had your daughter, right? I mean, I think that's very admirable.
Yeah, I mean, her middle name's Hope. I kind of like Sharon picked, Ellie, and I kind of picked the middle name. I thought it was very appropriate. It kind of seemed to fit.
Yeah, that's great, man. That's so great. All right, well, so let's hug it out. I always make everybody hug me at the end.